My name is Yesenia Ramdas. I'm the owner, founder, and executive chef of Ham Caribbean Flank Cuisine. I am a mother of 3 incredible children, Zechariah, Abel, and Amalia, and my husband and I have been happily married for 12 years. So, I grew up in Washington Heights in New York City, and as you know, I'm Dominican background, first generation, and so I was raised in a family of heavy meat eaters. And so at the age of 17, I read a book, and this book just really opened my eyes to ideas and concepts that I have never heard of before. Like, even the term being vegetarian was something that was very new to me, let alone being fully vegan or plant-based. And so this one book opened up other doors for me. I started reading more about conscious living and eating, and I really just wanted to share all of those learnings with the people that I loved, because I felt like being raised in Washington Heights, or this just wasn't a topic that I was familiar with, and so I wanted to share it with the world. I started writing blogs about anything that you could imagine, from drinking water in plastic bottles to the usage of microwaves. And I was in love with just sharing that information. And so I said, well, our people are maybe more visual people. So I started doing YouTube videos. And in the course of doing YouTube videos of some of my plant-based recipes, I also decided to continue to post on my social media. So I became more active on social media. At this time, I was already a mother of 1, and so I was more actively focused on ensuring that my child was eating healthily, that he was receiving the nutrients that he needed. And so I started posting on social media around what we were eating and what I was making for him, and I got a little traction doing that. And so I became encouraged by other mothers who were curious about how I was raising this child who had never consumed meat in his life, but was healthy and happy. And throughout all 3 of my children, we grew. So my second son was fully vegan, and so was my daughter. So before I had any of my children, I was a vegetarian/pescatarian for 13 years, up until when my mother was sick with cancer. And so when she became sick with cancer, I stopped eating eggs and cheese, which was really the only 2 remaining things for me to be fully plant-based. Right up until the pandemic, my mother passed away in 2018, so 2019 is here. My last daughter is 1-year-old. Everyone was off of work. And so I really took this time to really dive deep into what I loved and cared for, which was just finding a way to share my love for this conscious way of living with the world. And so, again, from YouTube videos to blogging to posting all that I would cook on social media, I started getting a lot of a response and a lot of questions like, when can I taste your food? Wow, this looks amazing, I wanna try it. And I just heard it enough where I couldn't ignore it. And so right when I went back to work, my husband said, you know what? Let's buy a tent, let's buy a table, and let's go to a pop-up. And so we signed up to be a part of a local pop-up in Long Island called the Long Island Vegan Pop-Up. And we went with 2 dishes, and we sold some exotic fruits, and they wiped us out. I couldn't believe it. I had always been seeking a way to share with the world. And at that moment, at that particular pop-up, I realized that there is no better way to tell someone to do better for yourself and to show them love than putting a warm plate of love in front of them. It speaks in volumes. It did more speaking that day than I had done in years of blogging and talking to people in person and talking to people on social media. And right then and there, I knew that I had something special. And at that moment in time, I just was like, this is it. And to make matters and God's timing precise, after I did that first pop-up, just a few weeks later, I got laid off of work because half of my market closed and my job was eliminated due to the pandemic. So now I had all this free time, and it's almost like I knew this is it. So I've never been back to work since that point in time, and here we are. The first year of business, that was in November. 2 weeks later, we signed our first lease at Cloud Kitchens, which are just these little ghost kitchens in these industrial buildings where I was able to sell my food on third-party platforms like Uber Eats and DoorDash. And we were there for over a year. But in the interim of being there, we did a lot of pop-up events, and that's how I was able to grow my business. So the first year of pop-ups, later that January, my husband and I sat down and we said, we're gonna go in on this and see what we've got. So the first year of pop-ups, we did about 6 events. The second year in 2022, we did about 26 events. And year to date, we have done 70 plus events. And early this year in January, on January 1st, we sat together and we said, we're gonna go ham this year. And here we are, as healthy as a mother, sitting in ham. So it's been a really exciting, but also a very challenging journey. So ham stands for healthy as a mother. So this name all came together. I never sat down and kind of said, okay, this healthy as a mother 3 years ago is gonna stand for ham. It kind of just happens, but in the best way possible. I'm from Washington Heights, so I love me some good slang. And so when you say healthy as a mother and I came up with that name, it was like saying like healthy as a mother, beep, right? Like it's like putting an emphasis on something that you're doing. So, but also at the same time, like I'm that mother bringing healthy, conscious decisions to the world. And so ham kind of just happens. We were like, wow, this kind of just goes in, and ham is another slang word. A lot of people may think it's like ham as in like pork ham, which kind of plays into it all, being that we're plant-based. But also ham is like, you go hard as a mother. So we're going ham, that's what we're doing. So one of the biggest challenges in the whole journey of opening up our restaurant was finding a space. We had a great realtor earlier in the year. We decided to open up a brick and mortar 12 months ago. So we knew that this is where we wanted to be. And so we looked at over 28 spaces across New York City. We were not set on a borough. We knew right off the bat that we wanted to find a space that was a second generation restaurant, a restaurant that had the bones already, because we knew that going into a white box was gonna be financially challenging. We really had in mind exactly what we wanted. And after looking at all those spaces, we weren't sold. And we told ourselves that we were gonna be patient in this process and not rush into a space, because we wanted the space to be close to perfect or even perfect. So we had really high standards from the beginning. And so out of frustration and feeling like, wow, like how many spaces are we gonna have to look at before we find the right one? We went on Facebook Marketplace, which is a place where I would never go into to find or rent a restaurant space. And in our first try, we came across 234 Union Avenue. The numbers alone, the word union, it did something. And when we walked in here, can I just say the relief I felt? I didn't know the space would be mine yet, because there were several people trying to get the space. But I knew at that moment that this was it. It checked all of the boxes for us, and I felt really confident. And so after negotiating the space for a few more weeks, actually closer to 2 months, we finally won it over. And so this corner, when I am across the street, when our sign was put up and I just see the word ham, Caribbean Plant Cuisine, I know every single day that this location was meant for us. So my favorite dish, I have many favorite dishes, but if I had to really hone in on one, It would really have to be our patacon sandwich. I love plantains, plátano power, obviously being Dominican. I just love the crunchiness. I grew up eating mangú and pastelón and tostones. And so when I created this dish, obviously this is a dish that's known across South America and in the Caribbean, but I loved being able to put a twist on it to really capture our Dominican culture by putting a tofu queso frito in there and just like jerk oyster mushrooms. I can't, like, it speaks to my soul when I have it. I feel at home and I feel comfort when I have that dish. Now in terms of customers' favorite, this is a tough one, but I have to go with our sweet plantain boats. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard from customers that they love this dish. They are reaching out to me, when are you gonna be at this next event? Because they are having withdrawals because they need to have this dish. And this dish is just really a recreation on a pastelón, which is sweet plantains, ground beef. In this case, we are using a plant protein beef. And then we're drizzling a potato-based jalapeno queso drizzled over it with microgreens, which we've now elevated to a red cabbage slaw and scallions. So I'm really excited about the evolution of that plate as it transitions from pop-up events to a dine-in setting. So the story behind the mural is my husband and I come from two different backgrounds. But still one love, so we're both Caribbean. I come from the Dominican Republic. I'm a first-generation Dominican American, and my husband was actually born in Trinidad and Tobago. So this mural came to life when we decided to capture our heritage and our culture in this space where we really wanted to hone in on who we are and the pride that we have of being people of Caribbean origin. We are really capturing the beauty of these two islands, but also just celebrating the unity that we have brought together within our two cultures. We have really realized within our brands that having pride in being of Caribbean origin in a culinary space is something that is unique, especially in a plant-based way. And this mural really captures the love that we have for our mothers in being healthy as a mother, but also love for our land. The mural will show you two mountains, one reflecting the highest peak in Trinidad and Tobago, which is Mount Aripo. And then on the right side of the mural, you will see the highest mountain in all of the Caribbean. And this mountain is a 5-peak mountain in the Dominican Republic called El Duarte, or Pico Duarte. And so these two mountains coming together is really just representing unity. These two lands coming together as one, which is what really is what the mural is all about. If you look down on the mural, you will see one house just really capturing one house, but for these two islands. And at the bottom of the mural, you will see the lushness of plants and coconut trees, plantain trees. We also highlighted the national flowers of both of our countries. So the pink one is the national flower of the Dominican Republic, and this flower is Bayahibe rose. And on the other side, you will see this beautiful, vibrant red flower, which is a chiconia flower, also known as the pride of Trinidad and Tobago. So at the center of this mural is the most important part of the mural, at least for my husband and I. It's very special and intimate. I lost my mother to cancer 5 years ago, and she is really at the foundation as to why I started going into plant-based living, being a conscious eater, and wanting to do better for my family. She is really the fuel that drives my energy to want to do greater and bigger for my children, for our community, and just for our lands. And so I told my husband, why wait for something to happen to your mother? I wanted to honor her while she was here in health and in life. especially knowing that she is the backbone of this business. She is the reason why we are able to do what we do. To all my parents out there who have multiple children, we have 3 children, and so we would not be able to do not even half of what we do today if it wasn't for Randy's mother. And so when I came out with the term healthy as a mother, I'm really the mother of the business. Being a mother of 3 children, no one wants anything better for you than your mother. And so I was really just exemplifying that as a brand. But in here at HAM, I really wanted to capture the mothers who made the visionaries of HAM come to life, so which is my husband and I. And so we wanted to honor both Nirupa and Elsa, my mother and Randy's mother. And so at the center of the mural, you have my mother sitting in a chair. She's sewing, doing what she loves. And on the other side, you have Nirupa standing with a basket of fruits because she's just loves to garden, pick her own plants from like our home garden. And when Randy's mother walked in here and saw herself on the mural for her first time, without actually knowing that she would be on the mural, her eyes filled with tears of joy. So it was really heartwarming for us to see. So at the core of who I am, I try to lead with love, because for me, love is the highest frequency in all of existence. And when I think about love, I think about those who have supported us on this journey. Anyone who has ever told you that they've made it to where they are all by themselves, I find that really hard to believe, sitting in this chair in my restaurant today. And without those people, we would not be here today. I would not have a restaurant. And it starts at home. The first biggest shout out in all of my love that I want to give, and I get emotional thinking about it, it's my husband, Randy. Why am I doing this right now? He has been everything. He has pushed me beyond limits and boundaries that I never knew that I could cross over. Every single day, he tells me, you are powerful, and what you put forth today could be better tomorrow. And sometimes I want to kill him because having someone in your household that you live with, that your life is meshed together with this person, it's tough. But I've learned with him that real love is tough love. Real love is telling someone like it is. It's not telling someone what they want to hear. And he is my biggest critic, but my biggest supporter. And I feel so much comfort knowing that he's on my team and that no one wants better for me and our family than he does, even when he tells me something I don't want to hear. So when you say support, Randy Ramdas is the definition of the support and the rock of HAM Caribbean Plant Cuisine. Randy's parents, Nirupa and Lakshman Ramdas. Randy's dad is up at 4 a.m. every single day. He's packing our van. He's going to 5, 6, 7 different grocery stores to ensure that we have the groceries that we need for the day. He is going to the pop-ups with us. He's our sugarcane person. He's chopping coconuts. He chopped 350 coconuts at one pop-up alone and slashed his hands in several places. And it's just non-stop. When I tell you the support just in my house alone, it is beyond me, and it makes me feel so blessed because people would kill for what I have in my inner circle. And I'm just so thankful for that. That's just in my house. Outside of my home, other family, friends, I can't even imagine what life would be like without my support system. One of my greatest joys on this journey is allowing my children to be so close to this all, to see me in the struggles, to see the tears, to see the happiness. My son Zachariah used to work with us at pop-up events when we were doing smaller scale pop-up events. He would cashier, and that joy of having him see us every single day, putting our best foot forward and doing what we love. I want him to one day grow up and do what he loves, and I want him to give it all he's got. And there's no better way than to communicate that to him than through action. When I think about this business and what I've created, I feel like my dreams have already been accomplished. Like, being here today, I could have never imagined this, but also being here today, it has allowed me to think about the possibilities of the impact of what this business could be for our community and for people all over the world. And so when I think about my dreams for Ham, I think about reaching people in places where they never heard of what being a vegetarian, what being plant-based is, just like the 17-year-old girl who grew up in Washington Heights who had no idea or knowledge of what these terms were. Just bringing consciousness and awareness to people in places who don't have access, but most importantly, being able to be a leader in this space. I really just want to bring it to the forefront and give it the respect that it deserves.